the meeting to order, and we will open with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, well done.
Thank you, thank you. Item C on our agenda is our roll call. Mr. Blow.
Here.
Mr. Elke.
Here.
Mr. Doolin is absent. He has resigned. We'll talk about that in a minute. Mr. Fleming is not here tonight. Mrs. Hahn.
Here.
I am here. Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Namowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Reed.
Present.
Very good. We have a quorum. Item D is approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as
So moved.
presented? Have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Very good. Mr. Namowitz seconds. Any discussion, questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion carries. We have no carryover items tonight. We move on to our regular business. And
We couldn't remember if we did.
we didn't. Item F1 is our video board membership, and just in terms of a bunch of housekeeping things all kind of come together at one time. I'd like to formally welcome Mr. Elke as the new Township Station Manager. I hope you had a chance to chat before the meeting. There'll be a chance to chat and kind of get to know everybody after the meeting. I had a chance to meet with Mr. Fisher and Mr. Elke. I think it was last week. Seems like a while ago. But it was just last week.
Yeah, and I can tell everybody here that Stefan was a really first-class guy, and we didn't know how easy it would be to replace him, but John is filling those big shoes. I'm so happy that he's here.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I think it's going to be a great fit. And did you want to say any sort of introductory, any remarks
Nice
that you
things
might
about the
have?
supervisor.
Yeah.
No, it's been really great to be here. I grew up in Waterford and Clarkston. I was out in Wisconsin for over a decade. So when I got the opportunity to come back home and to be able to do what I'm doing here with so many people that I care about and really like this area, it's been really a great opportunity for me to do that. And I'm really excited to not only do that, but do it with the people that I'm doing it with. The staff that we have at ITV is wonderful. The township has been nothing but gracious since I started here, and they've been so supportive for anything that we've tried to accomplish in the short time that I've been here. And likewise with the school. I mean, I started in June, so I didn't really get a chance to jump feet first with the school, as the school was empty when I started, so it was a little bit of a ghost town. But just starting up the last few weeks, it's been really, really great, and it seems like there's a lot of wonderful people here that care about this organization, so I hope to carry that on.
Very good. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you here, and I think you've got some big shoes to fill, but I think you're up to it. So we'll look forward to your new ideas and fresh perspective. Always a good chance to try some new things and invigorate some things we've got going on. So we're excited for that.
Yes.
Also on the Video Center board, we have a school member, Mr. Fleming, who is not seeking reappointment, and Mr. Doolin has resigned. And so the township has an appointment and the school has an appointment. And I think we're going to try to coordinate those to do those in the next couple weeks here so that we can do an orientation of our two new members together. As soon as we do those appointments, we'll let the rest of you all know who those folks are. And we'll probably have a chance at our November meeting to come a few minutes early and meet them and welcome them to the board as well.
And say goodbye to some.
Yes. And so on that note, Chandler Fleming was our secretary, so we need a new secretary. So somebody can volunteer, somebody can make a motion to volunteer somebody else. Your choice on how you would like to proceed, but we do need a secretary. This would be for the remainder of this fiscal year, which would be ending June 30th.
How many meetings is that?
Like three more?
3 more meetings.
3 more, yeah.
Yeah, 3 whole meetings.
Not an astounding problem.
No, and I would ask you all to please show some decorum and don't all jump up at once at this opportunity. But one of the three of you has to do this.
And if nobody volunteers, remember, don't be absent
Right.
at the next meeting.
Yeah, there isn't anybody absent tonight that
No.
we can appoint for this.
So I think Leanna, who is also Leanna, can agree how horrible I was at that. So I'm just stating that for the record. So,
Also, I think vice presidents, you might not, because I think Rob is president, or vice president, is secretary, so you couldn't be, hold two positions again.
there you go, I can't, so.
Okay,
Well, that's down to 2.
down to 2.
Do you have a form that you fill out? Is there a form, like, the agenda items and, like, who made the motion, who seconded, and?
There's a form that looks like this for marking attendance, and then it's just a matter of recording who made the motion and who seconded and what the vote
Yeah,
was.
so there is a form like that?
There's a form, this is the only form that we have, that's the roll call form. The rest of it is for the 2 or 3 motions that we make in a given meeting, is just writing down who made it, who seconded, and I don't know that we've ever had a split vote, but if there was a split vote, we would record that.
Yeah, I suppose I could do it, I guess.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Phil, appreciate that.
Thank you for being so
Starting
kind.
next meeting, or no?
I don't know, I'm taking notes
Because
for
I
this
haven't been
meeting,
keeping track of.
so that's okay, you can start next meeting.
Now, also, Matt has this recorded, and so he can
Yes.
send it to you, and, as long as you know our voices, you can pretty much identify who.
Yeah,
who,
absolutely.
So,
All right, can I have a motion to appoint Mr. Phil Reed as our secretary for the
I'll make
remainder
that
of the
motion.
year? Okay, Rob moved,
I'll second.
Jerry seconded. Are there any questions or discussion?
No good deed goes unpunished.
Exactly. You said
thank
that
you
earlier.
very, very much.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Reed.
Yeah.
All right, item F2 is a request to approve the minutes from our April 13th meeting. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item F3 is the review of our budget report ending in August. Just getting things started here. Mr. Elke, would you like to walk us through that?
Sure. So you have the budget in your packet. We have the preliminary closing numbers from this last year, the ending balance. The school helped kind of help us put this together and everything like that. So here to answer any questions. We also gave an update through August of how we're doing so far from a spending standpoint. So at this point, we're more than on course from spending. We haven't really done much, but we do have a few large projects coming up this year that will need to be addressed, most notably the school district setup with new cameras and a new operating system that will be a hefty price. We have gone out and gotten 2 quotes as far as what this looks like. We're gonna sit down as a staff to see which one would be a best choice as far as what we wanna go with. We can certainly bring that back to the board. I will bring this up though, with the school board update. We actually would be able to turn in our equipment that we're using currently for a credit towards the purchase of a new one, but that only lasts until the end of this year. So December 31st is when that credit would end. So it's just the system's going out of life. So if we choose to do it in this calendar year, we would receive up to about an $800 credit towards the purchase of new equipment, which is really, good in my mind. You usually don't get that opportunity to do that. You usually have to pay to recycle that stuff or attempt to sell it yourself. So that was some good news that we got today that we might be able to kind of take advantage of if we choose to move forward with it. This is a project that I think has been budgeted for, so it's just merely moving forward and doing it. So that'll be our big one, I think, this year is redoing this system to kind of bring it up to snuff from what we're typically doing elsewhere around the township and everything else. So at this point, happy to answer any questions regarding the budget. I've made myself familiar with it a little bit. I'll try to answer any questions to the best of my ability.
Well, one thing to add on to what John was saying, one of the updates is new cameras in here, which will bring the school board meetings and the video center board meetings into high definition along with the township. So all our government meetings will be in blazing HD, both on the YouTube channels that we stream them on, and not HD on the Comcast channels, but they are going live on the Comcast channel now. John was also able to figure that out when he started here, so meetings do go live to YouTube and live to the cable channel now.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Very nice.
Great.
Will the chats be enabled on those YouTube channels?
We haven't discussed enabling live chats on government meetings. I can only speak from personal experience and past experience when doing that. Most organizations didn't want live chats, so we'd have to have someone monitoring that in live time to do so, which would mean we'd have another person at each meeting to do that. So we can talk about doing that. My personal opinion, I think it'd be best if we don't have live chat. It really muddies up things. We can certainly explore the option, but we've tried it in other places and it hasn't worked too well as far as how that goes, especially when you have contentious topics up on your agenda. You can really get some people in there that really just kind of ruin it for everybody else. I don't mind having comments available for replay and such like that we can monitor and kind of keep in line with our code of conduct. But when it gets into the live stuff, it gets really tricky to monitor that in real time.
So really, it's for want of a moderator.
Yes, yeah, it would be for a moderators.
Well, there's some Open Meetings Act implications of, just because you post there doesn't mean the board is going to see those comments.
Right.
So it's somewhat nonsensical to give people an opportunity to sort of live chat about a meeting in a vacuum. I think somebody could say, hey, you weren't monitoring that, so there's an issue. You weren't giving us a chance to participate.
Right.
So I think, if you want to participate, you have to have your chance. We're legally required to have public comment as part of the meeting. You need to show up to do your public comment.
Yes.
And I mean, any member of the township, the school, or this board, right? I mean, you can email, submit anything to anybody, call. There's plenty of ways to have dialogues beyond.
Right, and the meetings are subject to Robert's Rules of Order, right?
They are.
And I think chats, like Zoom chats or YouTube chats, are frequently not germane to the meeting and kind of a violation of Robert's Rules.
Yeah, there is some legal precedent now with, you can mute somebody on Zoom when they go over their time frame very easily, right? There's a button. And so the court system in Michigan has, I think it's still sort of working through, but like people are, we're not allowed to meet online now. It's illegal. And like for all reasons at this point, and they're looking at loosening it because the pre-pandemic rules were actually allowed more remote participation than the post-pandemic rules that they've retightened, which is largely nonsensical, but it's the legislature, so.
Yeah.
It's interesting how that works, but there's some court case that went through some precedent there that says that was a violation of the person's rights by muting them. Even though you can set how long they can speak and all the parameters around that, but in that particular case, so that would not be not something I would recommend,
Right,
at least.
right.
Well, it might be unorthodox in some regards, but it also creates more interest specifically for younger people to become involved, because younger people feel as though they're excluded if they don't have the ability to be interactive with whatever they're watching, whether it's a video game or any of that nonsense. So it might be something to seriously consider, because to get young people more involved in the process
I would
and in
say
knowing what the school board is doing.
Everything besides the publicly, Open Meetings Act meetings, that makes a ton of sense to be interactive. But the meetings that are open meetings by law, like that's where there's sort of a different set of rules. And like the difference is like when we meet, like this is our meeting in public. It's not a public meeting. Like, this isn't a public hearing. We're not here to have public come up to us and share their opinion with us. If they want, they have the opportunity to do that. But this is our meeting. It's a business meeting that we're having in front of the public, you know, and that's the school board and the township is the same, right? The township is having their business meeting.
Right.
They're not legally allowed to do it any other way. You know, you have to do it and make decisions in the public forum. And so in that regard, you know, it's very well prescribed. The interactivity would be a farce, you know, and it would, I wouldn't want somebody to think they're participating and interacting when they're not. I mean, that's one way. Even when you do public comment, you know, you say, thank you for your comment. You know, there's no interaction, there's no responding,
Right,
you know,
right.
or anything like that, so.
And that's the very reason why it would be more inclusive for young people to become involved if they were able to have some sort of interaction.
Yeah.
Where in the meantime, you know, they don't know who runs their school. They don't know who the school board is. They don't know what the school board does.
Yep.
Getting people.
I would say, I was talking with Jerry just before the meeting started, I would say when people aren't fixated on who and what the school board is doing, it's probably a good thing because there isn't anything controversial going on where they would be engaged in that. And not that I don't want people to be engaged and involved, but unfortunately, the times in my history where they have been because of controversy and turmoil, you know, and that's where we're worried about, you know, whose name is in the minutes, and we're not talking about student growth and achievement. You know, that's not a good place to be, you know, and so I think, you know, each organization, including our organization here of ITV, you know, we have plenty of opportunities for people to be involved. Like if you want to get involved and engage, like this meeting format is probably the worst.
Right.
Because it's entirely one way.
Right.
Right, you know, whereas there's a lot of other ways, and I think, you know, through a lot of the student things that Matt does, and, you know, we've done open house kinds of things in the past, and offered tours, and, you know, had opportunities for community members to come in, like, all of those are, I think, much better ways to get that interactivity that we want, and I think all the other shows that we broadcast, potentially having chat enabled makes more sense there, because it is, like, hey, if multiple people are watching.
So do you have the ability of people to appear by video?
No.
At a meeting? 'Cause we do that.
Yeah, we do not. We have chosen, once we left the Zoom world, that all public comment and interaction was gonna be in the meeting.
Yeah.
Just from a technology ease perspective, from a communication perspective, it's just much easier.
And you know, one of the real problems with allowing the video appearance is that in some cases, people don't appear. You know, they're a little circle
Yes.
with an initial.
Yep,
And I don't think that should be permissible.
and that's not based on
Could
our
be
school
anybody.
rules, which is
Yeah,
why we
exactly.
don't,
Yeah.
Yeah, they
we-
could be
we don't
anonymous,
allow
completely
it.
anonymous, and
Exactly.
just make trouble.
Yeah.
Just be a troll.
yeah. I mean, we
And there are
require
people like
people,
that.
There are people like that.
yeah, we require people to sign in and put their, you know,
Yeah.
information on a sheet, and we call people based on how they signed up.
Yep.
And the protocol is consistently followed. Very good.
But I like your idea of
Excellent
getting young
comments,
people involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
They love that interactivity, those kids.
Can I ask one question on the budget?
Yes.
There's something referred to as media club. It's a zero line across. There's another zero line leasing charges, but I can understand that as a placeholder because you might lease something. But what is a media club?
Media Club, a long time ago, I think the various powers that be wanted to see a Media Club budget line because they thought that would be a big thing we'd do at the high school. My predecessor couldn't really get it going. We looked into it at various times. It's always tough to gauge how much student interest that would be in that, generally speaking, because a lot of kids that do media are already doing like sports or drama club or already have other after-school commitments. So I think one of our previous employees was actually looking at getting one going. He was looking at getting one started this year, but he's one of our employees that left for new opportunities. So it's there for us to have some kind of money to play with for a media club. We just have not really had a media club in recent years.
You know, they've all joined the ham radio club.
The AV club, that's where all the cool kids go.
Crystal
Right?
set.
Yeah, the Crystal Set Club.
Great. Any other questions on the budget?
Yes, I have a question, and this might, I don't mean to seem dense, but the last line of the 83122 budget, it says the telephone charge is $1,603.80 here, as opposed to the previous ones that are much larger. is this is just a much smaller length of time for the telephone charge
Correct. If you're looking at the through 8/31, that's just what we've been charged so far.
thus far?
Through this year. So that's, if you scroll across, we have 98% of our budget remaining for the telephone fund for the remainder of the year. So that's, the 13,000 is what we have budgeted out, if I'm looking at that correctly, and we've spent $161. But that's just from July 1 through August 31st. So that's why it looks kind of so low.
Okay, great, thank you.
So this budget's just informational, it's not gonna be, we don't approve it.
Correct, not at this time. I believe the budget approval is in April, at our April meeting, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yep, for the next year.
Yep.
Very good. Any other budget questions? Last year, I guess we would be remiss if we didn't recap. The last year came out very positively, and we put some more money in our fund equity, which is good, because as PEG fees start to erode, as less and less people use standard traditional wired cable, that is going to be something that we need as a shock absorber, so to speak. As those PEG fees decline, we're going to need some fund equity to help us.
And we're losing
Readjust.
$14,000 this year.
Yeah, so it's going to wind down, or certainly be less. Okay. Moving on, the F4 is the ITV production update. I think Mr. Elke's gonna start us off with some fancy slides,
Yeah.
from what I hear.
I told John his predecessors didn't really do that, but he seemed keen on doing some slides, so I wasn't gonna argue with him about
He
it.
shines in this format.
You know, it's nothing wrong with being an overachiever.
That's right.
Nothing wrong with it.
I thank you very much for your time today. This is just a quarterly update as far as what we've put together so far from the last meeting. I took all the information from beginning in May, because I believe our last meeting was in April. So this is just kind of an update, so you, the board, know what we have been kind of working on from that time till now. So just as a heads up, as we've kind of discussed, we've continued to cover great community events through staffing changes from our last meeting. Matt, who's in the back broadcasting our meeting, currently, and myself both joined as full-time staff members on the same day in June, so that was a really wonderful kind of day to be a part of, and to be kind of linked together like that is something I'm kind of excited about. So our broadcast, as Matt had mentioned, on cable, we transitioned to a 24-hour broadcast schedule on all 3 channels beginning in June. This provides our viewers multiple opportunities to view meetings, events, and sports, no matter what time of day that they'll be watching our channels. So we kind of just expanded out our scheduling process, so there's multiple opportunities to catch as many programs as possible, not only on our video on-demand site, but also on cable as well. With the live broadcast that we've been doing beginning in July, as Matt said, we started broadcasting our meetings and sporting events on both online and cable at the same time. This month we were able to broadcast out 2 live events at the same time, online and cable as well, which is something that I don't think we've done before. So we were actually in the gymnasium doing a swim meet and also doing a planning commission meeting at the same time. So both went off on their respective channels, and both had their own YouTube link as well. So not only are we able to reach people online, but we're also making sure that everyone's able to watch all live events on cable too. So online as well, we gained 73 subscribers to the Independence Television's YouTube page from May until today. In doing so, we surpassed 1,000 subscribers to our page, which is a nice milestone to have.
So, John,
Yes.
so to be a subscriber, you just click subscriber?
Yep.
And that puts you in there?
Correct, yep, and then you'll be notified of any videos that we're uploading or any potential live events that we have scheduled. You get a notification for that, so
Great.
that's something that we.
And we actually operate 3 of the YouTube channels.
Yep.
We operate Clarkston Community Schools YouTube channel, Independence Television is kind of our public YouTube channel, and then Independence, I believe it's Independence Township Government. So depending on what channel you subscribe to, you could see just school stuff, just government meetings, some of the public stuff, or, hey, all 3, why not?
Right, Matt is correct.
So would you contribute some of this to the new social media position, marketing person? Or is
Yeah,
this kind of just been a natural, organic
Yes, I do. I'll get to that in a moment, but I think that what Hannah's been able to do from a social media standpoint, and I mean, our live events are what drive people to the YouTube page. So I think with the more consistent live events that when Mr. Blow has been doing with his class, along with our government meetings, I think it's just been a great kind of combination as far as what we're looking at. But we've also found different ways to kind of share those YouTube links on social media to drive more people to those pages. So it's something we kind of tried this summer to see how it would work and how the audience would respond to it. And at least so far, it's been a nice rise. It's not 1,000% where we'd like it to be, but we're at least seeing the positive gains that we want to see out of this. So.
I would definitely say from work from Hannah and Matt and John that we're getting way better at promoting when we're doing live things on the channel as well. It's one thing to get it out there live. It's another thing to make sure people know, hey, we're live tonight or we're going to be live tomorrow for whatever the event is.
I think that's going to be an increasingly important thing because especially younger folks, like live isn't particularly a thing. Unless you're talking about sports, like I don't know too many people that watch anything like when it actually airs. You know, it's like my son especially, like I don't think he would ever gonna know a time where like you had to be sitting in front of the TV at 8 o'clock on Friday if you wanted to watch that show.
It's very true. We actually were able to take advantage of that old school appointment viewing this past fall with our first football game that we did. We weren't able to go live from Ann Arbor, the University of Michigan, for Clarkston's first game. Internet was not provided to us to do so. So we recorded it, we promoted it on social media that we were going to be broadcasting the game at 7 o'clock on this channel. You can watch it then. So we wanted to keep it in line with when our other games would be broadcasting Friday night at 7 o'clock, so people could kind of get in that routine of watching football games at that time. And we saw over 500 views on our scheduled recorded program. So doing stuff like that, I think, is and that's another draw to bring people not only to the channels, but we premiered it on our YouTube page as well to kind of get people's attention. So it seemed to work, at least in that instance, but that was a really highly publicized event, so I can't say it would work like that for everything, but we're happy to take advantage of something like that and kind of make the most out of it. These are summer interns. It was a great program that we got to continue on this obviously summer. For those that don't know, Independence Television has interns with Clarkston High School. Both these interns assisted in studio productions, in front of and behind the camera. They assisted in social media content and community events. With our Movie in the Park event, they'd come and help out. But they also filmed and produced and edited multiple community promotional event videos on their own. So we worked with them at the beginning of the summer to kind of get them used to camera equipment, what they should be looking for on assignment and everything like that. The first one, either Matt or myself would kind of assist them with on location so they understood how to go about filming ribbon cutting, for instance. And then we would put it together and kind of show them what their footage looked like. This is what you shot, you know, so you know next time that you're out on the field, hey, I tried this and it didn't really work so well. Or I tried this and it worked really, really well. I want to try it again. So their culmination project was to find a community event that they were interested in. They chose the car show at Fifth Tavern to kind of promote. We asked them to write down a outline as far as what they wanted the video to look like. How many interviews to hopefully get, and we sent them out with their own equipment and asked them to put it together. So they were able to do that within, you know, a week or two. They got to see it uploaded to the YouTube channels and then also, you know, playing on TV, and I think it was a nice reward for them to kind of see their hard work taken from one event and then see it in a finished product on platforms that they normally watch. So it was a great experience to have both these guys here. They're now in the sixth hour PM media class as well, so we'll be seeing much more of them. But this program that we have with the high school is mutually beneficial for ITV because we get extra help in the summertime, but we're also hopefully helping the students get much needed knowledge before they go off to college in fields that would be interest to them. So Jonah and Andrew, if you see them around, make sure to say hi.
Yeah, they were my students last year. They got to summer interns this past summer, and they're again my students this year. So they get to, you know, work with me in the classroom, but then they also get paid experience with John and Matt doing some summer stuff. So they get to, upon graduation from Clarkston High School, have a wealth of experience when it comes to video.
And this is just going to be highlighting some of our productions that we did over the quarter. So I'm going to start off with Independence Day because it was a big one for us. Our staff produced 4 videos for Independence Fest and Independence Day. All the videos were published and placed on TV and online the same day. We were able to produce a video for the Veterans Ceremony, a promotional video that was used for Independence Fest. We recorded the fireworks show, and then we recorded the parade also in downtown. With all the views on YouTube, we had 624 through the 4, and then an additional 2,000 on Facebook just from the videos alone. So I thought this was a great example of what our staff can do from a community standpoint of highlighting a wonderful event, but also getting it out in a timely manner where people are, very interested in it and still want to watch it. It was an all hands on deck kind of situation where we all took different responsibilities throughout those 2 days, but I was extremely pleased with the work that our staff put in for this event. And we'll go into some more community events. This is more Matt Legato's forte, I should say. He does a lot of the legwork for the community events, so I give him a lot of credit for putting in a lot of work of going to a multitude of events. You can kind of see them listed down in the bottom of just some examples of what we did. But we continued to cover these community events. We produced, as you can see, different styles of videos that included multi-minute features with multiple interviews to 30 to 60-second social media promotional videos. So we kind of played around with different styles and just to see how they worked, and they seem to have been well received. And like I said, we covered a lot of ground this past summer as far as the events went. All of them can be viewed on our YouTube page on ITV if you haven't got a chance to catch up with them, but yeah. And sports, this is just starting up. As I kind of stated earlier with the Ann Arbor game, that's kind of highlighted in the top area. But we also created a promotional video for the football season that was published before the game, letting people know that they can watch not only that game on ITV, but we also promoted which games would be on Independence Television throughout the season. So it was very well received across social media, which was wonderful. And then our first broadcast from football that was conducted by Matt Blow and his students and ITV staff, but primarily student production, had over 3,000 views on YouTube alone. So that was, I think, a successful broadcast. I'll touch on.
At the time, we also had roughly, I think it was just above or just below 200 people watching the stream, which then added up to that 3,000 views. The last 2 weeks, we've also done swim and dive meets. Those don't always get the same numbers as football because football is the most popular sport, but we always like helping them out because they don't have the Pixel-Lot cameras in their pool, and we were able to go last week for their senior night, so I know they appreciated us being there for that. And then, those always get a couple views, not as much as football, but, still some solid viewership there as well.
And our social media, and Hannah Gray, who was hired on to kind of help us out with social media, she couldn't be here tonight. She was feeling a little bit under the weather and had some other things pop up, but she sends her regards. So I'm just going to tout her a little bit while she's not here because she wouldn't allow me if she was. But she has been doing a fantastic job with our social media. As you can see with Facebook from Independence Television, we're up 43% on page views and 91.9% on page visits since May, which is some really great numbers. That means people are looking at our page, but also coming to our page time and time again. Instagram, she had 41,000 plus views on a graduation video that she put together, which is incredible. I can't state that enough, that's a very, very high reach and something that I don't expect her to do each time, but she has found in very creative ways to engage our audiences. As Matt said, she's done a really good job of promoting not only our content, but when we're going live and what we have upcoming. And I think people are starting to notice. One thing that we did start doing as well is we just activated our Twitter account again in July, so we're kind of putzing around with that, seeing how that goes. We can reach out different people that way from Facebook and Instagram, so it's just another outlet for us to get our information out there. As the township knows, we used it this past July, I believe, for City Hall Selfie Day. It was something we did new this year, but we went over and it was a national competition, and we got a nice like from Pure Michigan for our photo, so that was kind of great attention to have from our posts, that it was just something fun that we partook in. It was a lot of other governments across the nation that did so, and we were able to get some nice statewide attention. So that's kind of what I mean by having a little bit different audience on Twitter compared to Facebook and Instagram, that we're able to reach some different people, which is great. So we've been constantly doing this, but Hannah has been the rock star behind our social media rise this past summer, and she deserves a lot of the credit for what she's doing. She comes to events, does great promotion for our stuff, and is always looking for different ways to get our content out there. So if you haven't, we're obviously Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Now, how much does she, I know she's part-time, how much time does she commit to?
Sure. So she comes in at this time about 2 days a week. So Monday we usually sit down and we kind of get a plan together as far as what we have upcoming, if there's anything. You know, sometimes there's not, and we kind of go, well, okay, we've got this coming up soon. Or if we know we have some bigger project coming up, she'll kind of make time for that if she can. She has other jobs, so she can't be at everything. Yeah, it's just at 2 times a week at this point, and if we'd like her to come in on like a weekend when we're working an event and stuff like that, she won't come in a second time that week. She'll just go to that event instead. So.
Right, I was just trying to get a sense of like how little of her effort has actually resulted in, you know, what we're seeing so far. So it's definitely, you know, very valuable.
Oh,
so.
yeah, I believe so. Having someone on staff that's fully dedicated to that, they can kind of watch that and the metrics, and she's just got a good feel and eye for how this works, you know, and it's just great to have that knowledge on hand when we're doing stuff, because I'm sure Matt has said before, you know, when you're on an event doing a live production, sometimes it doesn't cross your mind to take a photo and let people know that you're broadcasting live, because you've got so much stuff to kind of handle all at once. So it's nice that she's able to kind of do that for us, and her expertise is very valuable on our staff. So. And there's just a few photos, but any questions, please let me know. That's our contact, and obviously you guys know where to find us, but I wasn't sure 100%. So, yeah, that's bottom photo is our staff for the 4th of July parade. As Matt said, that was the swim meet that we set up for earlier. These were the 2 photos that we took on the same day that we broadcasted live on cable and online from the same building the same day. So it was a nice day for our staff. But as you can kind of see, the students learning the technology that we set up for those live productions and everything. So thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them
Just
now.
one quick question.
Yeah.
I know that the 4th of July parade picture looks like it was taken by a drone.
Yep.
With a drone.
Yep.
Do you use the drone for any other purposes?
Yes. So I'm a licensed drone pilot. At this time, I use the drone, the fire department's drone, until we're able to buy our own for ITV, which has been discussed, but we've had some other fish to fry at this point. We do use it for other opportunities and events when we have the opportunity. So like this upcoming weekend, we've got the football game. We'll have the drone out for. We'll have it for the Taste of Clarkston downtown. We are able to use it for the master plan interview that just posted on Tuesday to kind of get some aerial shots of Independence Township to include in those videos. So at this time, since we don't have one on staff, we kind of use it sparingly. Whenever we can, obviously contact the fire department to get permission and get it from their offices to use, because they got to keep it on staff or on hand for their purposes, which is fine. They've been more than gracious to allow us to use it when we need to, so we just have to give them notice.
Thank you.
Of course.
Any other questions?
Yeah, how many summer interns were there?
2.
2. And that was for what, June, July, and August, or what?
Roughly, yeah. I think our last day was in August, and they might have started a little late because of my start date, because we didn't want to start them until we knew we had people in-house ready to take over. So I would say safely they started last week of June, around June 21st, 22nd, and probably ended second week of August,
if I'm not
And
mistaken.
though they don't work regularly anymore, they're still on the payroll. So if there is an oddball weekend event or evening event that we need them to cover, they can still get paid for that. So they're still on that payroll system, they just don't have regular hours anymore.
Right, okay, all right, thanks.
Of course.
My question would be, there was a controversy with the Michigan Amateur Athletic Association with broadcasting the live games. What was the conclusion with that?
So ultimately,
controversy?
when it comes to regular season games, it seems as though we're now good to go, live, YouTube channel, whatever. But playoff games, we are no longer allowed to live stream. The one downside to having those Pixelot cameras in there is MHSAA has a way to film any game as long as those cameras are on. And because of that, they don't really allow us to do the playoff games. The only way we could is we could film it and give them a copy. And I once asked, could we do anything with that footage? And they said, no. So I'm not terribly inclined to just give another organization our footage. So playoff games we're kind of out of commission on, but regular season games, we look to be good to go to live stream and all that good stuff.
Have they sent, their lawyer sent you a letter to that effect, or are you just getting communications from their organization?
That's I think it was a phone call I had with one of them to clarify. I think something last year. That's what I was told.
I see.
Whatever they say is how it is. There's no due process, there's no discussion, there's no open conversation. They just decide what they're doing, and that's the way it is.
And where does their funding come from? Is it a compilation of all everybody contributes to that, or
All of the playoff game gate receipts.
do they sell ads?
I don't know.
I know
They
the
have
games
sponsors.
are behind some kind of paywall. I don't know if there's ads on that as well. But I
So
know
it's a
there's one
revenue
on the
stream
paywall.
for them,
Oh, yeah.
Of some kind, yes.
but it's not a revenue stream for ITV to broadcast our regular games.
No,
Not yet, not yet.
well,
We want to make it a revenue stream.
true. We are looking at underwriting to get some sponsorship on those
Yes.
streams,
Right.
but we've always
Right.
believed that the live streams themselves should be free to access to the community.
Yes.
So we wouldn't want to charge a community member to watch our stream, but if we can, get a little bit of underwriting for, a local business to put their logo on it or something for a little while, well, I think that's fine.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions? Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate the overachieving slides. Item G on the agenda is public comment. Do we have any members of the audience who would like to address the Video Center Board? Want to give everybody a full opportunity to
This is one of
come
the
forward.
few moments that Leanna is quiet.
Seeing no public, board members, any comments that you haven't yet made?
I guess I'll just echo some of the comments. John got started here at the beginning of the summer, so we got to have a couple meetings and a couple phone calls, but obviously we didn't start really working together day to day until the school year started off. But from what I can tell from the summer and what I've seen with John and Matt, once the school year started, they kind of hit the ground running, kept busy in the summer, which can be a difficult thing to do at times. And, we're doing things bigger and better in some ways than we've done before. So kudos to both John and Matt for kind of, hitting the ground running.
Anything else?
Okay.
I want to thank the Township Board for reappointing me to this, and I hope that I can be an assistant in some sort of value to the ITV effort.
It was a 4-3 vote. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't understand that completely. It doesn't surprise me in the least.
Very good.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your reappointment.
Thank you.
Item I is adjournment. Can I have a
Thanks for
motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Jerry moved, Leanna second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.